Right, here we go then. Getting excited. Gloves on. Let's see how we go. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. First thing I should say is you might notice I've not got my nice blankets as I normally have as a background. I'm in the middle of moving house, so everything's a bit up and down at the moment. So you can see that's where I normally do my edits. I'm in the rig like normal, just might look a little bit different. Sorry for the wires, and I think you can just about make out the hoover there and stuff. But anyway, sorry about that. It was the first race of 2022 and the first race for me in the Trackday Championship with the PRO-AM Renault Clio. It was really exciting and we came away with a really fantastic result. I didn't get that much vlogging video from the event, even though I've raced before, being with a new team, a new driver, new teammate, and the first race of the year. There was a lot going on, so I didn't really get much chance to do much vlogging, but there's onboard footage. I'll do a bit of voiceover. I got a little bit of kind of point of view camera footage, although that's largely unusable because the camera's not pointing in the right place, so sorry about that. But let's start with some key facts for this race. Obviously my first race in this car, as I said. My teammate Jack, it's his first ever race, and the car is sporting the novice cross because of it, and it's both of our first time racing a front wheel drive car. I have raced when I did the Citroen C1 races a couple of years ago, but this is quite a lot more powerful than those, and so largely completely different. But it was good fun. We had no idea where we were going to be. We'd done a test session the day before where we'd got some of our awkward moments out of the way, a little bit like this one. We had the times between the two of us. We knew we could both find a bit of time, but we didn't know whether they were going to be competitive or not. So we went out and qualified, and we came away from qualifying with a 4th place in class. And to be honest, I was very pleased. I was a bit frustrated at the time, but on reflection, very pleased to be 4th. I knew there was still at least 2 tenths from my lap, just looking at some of the data and the optimum I could have had, which would have put us, I think, 2nd. But all in all, we're very happy to be 4th in class with qualifying. And the race went pretty smoothly, really, all things considered. And we ended up finishing the race 4th. So 4th place for our first time out. Extremely happy, some good points in the championship. Still a lot to go, very happy. So it's not going to be the entire race from start to finish, but I'm definitely going to do a little bit of some of the GoPro footage, some of the in-car stuff, and I'll talk over some of the key points, and then I'll skip us through a little bit so we can keep things moving along nice and swiftly. So without further ado, let's get on the grid. So here we go then. We're just waiting for the 5-second board. The lights will come on when I start building some revs, and we're going for our first race start of the year. I take 2nd gear a little bit early there, but it's really congested grid and I just want to get around T1 safely. That's all that was in my mind, as loads of tyre smoke, and the McKee Motorsport BMW has a huge spin in front of us. Don't quite know if he was helped round or made an error there. I'm sure we'll find out later this year. But it has meant we've managed to pick up a couple of positions by running out wide and just avoiding the carnage. You can see now really I'm just aware of the fact that I've got cold tyres and brakes despite doing my best job to warm them up on the outlap. I know the silver and blue Honda behind's very quick in a straight line. I'm just covering the inside a little bit into here. Benefit of some more racecraft experience at Silverstone I probably shouldn't have done. It just allows the Honda to go take the inside corner into the final corner here. I definitely could have squeezed a lot harder, but all in my mind and our objective for this race weekend was to finish the race. Lose a little bit on the initial phase of braking there. I think looking back on it, there was a lot of tyre smoke in front. I haven't seen that much at that corner before, and I think I was just conscious there might be an incident happening in front. I know a lot of this video is going to be me saying I should have been tighter to the other cars, and I think that's just purely because I really wanted to get through the first round without any incidents whatsoever. Just trying my best really now to stay in whatever tow there is from the Honda in front, and just try and drive my normal lines. Currently there's about 4 of us that are just slightly bunched up behind another Renault Clio actually that's in the class above. It's very quick in a straight line, and we're just a bit bunched in some of the corners, so you can see things quite close. They don't look as close as they feel when you're there for real, but I was very impressed with any of the driving standards I saw all weekend, I have to say. I've lost the position there. Unfortunately, I just got a bit boxed in by the Honda in front. He took a slightly different line to normal, a little bit more on the brakes, I think, as we were all tripping over one another, and it just let the other Renault Clio behind. Put one down the inside, and I was out of position then into the next 2 corners, and I knew what was likely to happen here. Frustrating at the time, but still the objective for us in our first race weekend with the team and together as teammates was to finish, so still be running around in 4th or 5th in class was a great result at this moment. And ironically, I think the next couple of laps I spend as the fastest car in our class, so we were still making good progress through the whole race stint, even if we had lost a position here. There's all sorts of differences I could have done and should have done when I look back on these videos. I'm trying not to turn this into some kind of self-coaching lesson, so I'll let you make your own observations for different lines and better braking points I could have taken. You can see ahead now, there's about 5 or 6 of us even that are quite closely bunched, and one of my main remarks from this was it's the only race series I've ever been involved with to be this close for as long as we were and have no contact, no one making any huge errors. And as I said earlier, the driving standards really were great, especially for the first weekend of the championship after everyone's a bit rusty from the off season. Yellow Golf in front has got a lot more power than us, so I assume he had an issue in this race because we were able to catch up. I just used good speed ahead through T1 to try and get down the inside here. Didn't quite come off, but as you'll see in a minute, he's obviously got a little issue and struggling a bit for power. So using what I'd previously learned, I made sure I was on the outside of this corner, so I had the inside for the right-hander of Brooklands. Just tried to hold a tighter line to try and stop him cutting back, but unfortunately it didn't quite work. Luckily for us though, we had the legs in a straight line. It had cost me quite a lot of time to the guys we were running with, so my focus now is forward on trying to make that back up. So we've come back to it about 3 laps later. As you can see, there's still really close in front, and I think a couple of clean laps for us in open space, and now we're starting to catch the back markers, has allowed us just to close back up with this group. We've closed back up here, and this is where I really started noticing, you know, some of the strong points of this car versus the strong points of some of the others. And I think it bodes well for some of the other tracks, particularly some of the tighter ones. We seem to be quite good on the brakes. Silverstone National is a very high speed track. The car was fantastic, but I can see it being even stronger at some of the other circuits. At this point, Scott from PRO-AM was telling me I'd done some quick laps, so it's a nice feeling. Just tried to put this car under a bit of pressure into T1. Again, with hindsight, I think I definitely could have gone up the inside there. He left me plenty of room to do so. I think it's just understanding what each driver's like and what we can get away with as the season goes on. Certainly didn't want to come away from race 1 with an accident. Again, I've sort of shown my nose just to see if I can apply some pressure, but we've got a Class D Z3 on the left there, which causes everyone to bunch right up. Just luck of the draw sometimes, and not where you want to catch a back marker, and I lose out to that Golf. We won't talk about that apex, I don't know what I was doing there. So again, I was just trying to focus on taking my lines now and catching back up. I know the tyres go off on these cars when they get quite hot. It's the same for everybody though. So I was just trying to not overdrive, but at the same time focus on my apexes and exits to make sure I could keep in touch with this group in front. Ultimately, I think in front there is second, third, in class. So I knew I was there or thereabouts as long as we could stay in touch. I expected that we'd have a good pit stop, wouldn't lose any time there. So it was all about just focusing on my own drive at the moment. I know I was quicker than the yellow Golf in front, who was obviously having a problem. And you never know what can happen with traffic, so it's just about focusing on my own thing. You see the white Honda Civic just off into the pit lane. The pit window's been open for a little while now. He's going for the first of the mandatory 2-minute pit stop that every team needs to make, whether you're changing driver or not. But again, I've just caught a little bit of traffic here. Going around the outside of a driver you don't know is always slightly risky. It's just cost me a bit of time to that group again, so I've just been a bit unlucky with traffic, which I'm sure I could make some of my own luck by being a little bit more decisive, but as I've said all the way through this, I really wanted to avoid any contact. So here we come in then, just into the pit lane. I'm pretty happy with my stint. I think in hindsight I could have been a lot more decisive, but equally I think we're coming in something like third or fourth in class, with some others have stopped as well, so we can be pretty happy with that. And out of the pit lane comes my teammate Jack, and we were in a battle as he exits for third in class at this time. Immediately behind him is the Renault Clio that, due to the way the stops had worked out and the times that we had in the first stint, we were in a battle. Now, this is one of the downsides to sharing the drive, is that Jack's got to bring himself up to speed, whereas the driver in the Clio isn't swapping. So he has to make his mandatory 2-minute pit stop, but he's already up to racing speed in his head, so it's a lot easier for him to go straight at it. Having said that, considering it's Jack's first race as well, he drives fantastically well and sets his personal fastest lap of the race in the opening few laps. So big shout out to Jack. I think he handled the whole weekend extremely well. So I will wind things forward a little bit now, but it's a great stint by Jack. He holds on to fourth in class for a really long time. And the McKee Motorsport BMW that I mentioned at the start that had the spin at T1 is making a storming recovery drive through the field. that I will fast forward onto now and show you a little bit of. So here we go then, that menacing looking BMW behind Jack here has made a fantastic recovery drive, it has to be said, and Jack does his utmost to keep them behind for as long as he can. Huge moment into cops. Really well held. Opportunistic move down the inside. I'm not sure Jack had planned right from the start, but it certainly looked good. Just a little bit boxed in with the back marker now. He has to lift off, and that's what gave the PRO the opportunity to come through. But there we go, Jack drove fantastically well in the second stint and he hangs on. He was actually 5th in class on the road, and the car immediately in front of us ended up with a 10-second penalty at the end of the race for starting the race out of position. So we finished 4th in class, and as I said right at the start of this, fantastic result, very happy. Our first time out with the car, Jack's first ever race, my first race for a long time. Very pleased to finish 4th. It's a great start to the championship, and we've got a lot of rounds to go, so who knows what can happen from here, but I'm very happy. If you're still watching, thanks very much. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'm going to try and do something along these lines, hopefully a little bit more vlogging type videos for every round this year. And if you are still here, go check out PRO-AM Racing, check out their website. They've got their own YouTube channel as well, have a look at that. Great team, they've done a fantastic job prepping the car and a fantastic job looking after us all weekend. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the year with them. Other than that, I shall say, thanks very much for watching.